Hare Krishna. My name is Gopal Das, and I would like to speak about this magnificent project that we have going on now in Sridham, Mayapur. For me, I was very fortunate. I was one of the first 13 devotees Srila Prabhupada chose to come to India in 1970. Our party left from both sides of the United States. East Coast was the bulk of us, and from the West Coast, Srila Prabhupada, Devananda Swami, Kartikeya Swami, and Tamal Krishna, who was a Grihastra at that time, flew to Tokyo, Japan, and there they negotiated with Dai Nippon Insatsu, which means big printing company, to print our Krishna book. After this was completed, there was one Canadian Japanese boy by the name of Bruce who was fascinated with Srila Prabhupada and joined their party, and they flew to Calcutta. In Calcutta, Prabhupada's very first acquisition or purchase was going to Mayapur and buying 8 beakers of land. So the very first thing he did when he came to India was buy land to build what we now have going on in Sridham, Mayapur. And Achyutananda was there. He was instructed to build a hut on our land, which became Srila Prabhupada's Bhajan Kutir. At that time, Mayapur was an isolated area. There were only 2 villages. On the left side was the Muslim village, and on the right side of the street was the Hindu village. And all of the land from the Ganga going all the way back were just small plots of land owned by individual farmers where they would grow seasonal crops. Prabhupada wanted devotees to stay on this land, and it was very difficult to find anyone willing to stay in Mayapur. Now devotees flock to Mayapur by the thousands. But at that time, I was one of 4 devotees who volunteered to go and begin this project, which was very dear to Srila Prabhupada's heart. The devotees that went were Jayapataka Maharaj, Janani Vas, Prabhas, a very sweet Indian devotee, and myself. At that time, Radha Madhava had not yet appeared in Mayapur, so the entire bamboo hut was utilized as Srila Prabhupada's quarters. So we would have to sleep outside. We had no shelter, but we would sleep on the land, and we had one tube well, which is a pump for getting water And from that point, plans were made in Calcutta. An architect, which is very near to the Calcutta temple, were involved in the design of our first structure, which was the Lotus building. But on one visit, Srila Prabhupada came, and with him he brought Radha Madhava, who had been traveling to different Pandal programs, and put them in his bhajan kutir. And immediately Janani Vas stepped forward and took on the responsibility of being pujari for these wonderful deities. However, after some time, a couple Matajis came and took back Radha Madhava and took them to Hyderabad. And when Srila Prabhupada arrived in Hyderabad, he saw Radha Madhava there, and he says, "Why are these deities here? These are the deities for Mayapur. Take them back immediately." So they were returned to Sridham Mayapur, and at that time also building materials began to arrive. I was the accountant at that time, in charge of what little money we had. We had actually no money for personal use. The deities would get 2 sweets a day, and Janani Vas would cut each sweet into 3 pieces. So for each offering there would be a little tiny piece of sweet that Radha Madhava could partake. And for the devotees, we were told that we had to be self-sufficient, and the only food we were provided was what we could grow. And so many days we went hungry, but the atmosphere, at least for me, and I'm sure the other 3 devotees had similar feelings, was so overpowering and surcharged with Lord Chaitanya's mood that any severities that we had to endure were like a small misty rain that is actually enjoyable. But other devotees who came to visit Mayapur would come in the morning, and they would leave by the last train in the evening, because it was so austere that no one wanted to stay. But for us, we stuck it out, and I can remember when our first shipment of cement arrived. It arrived in Krishnagar by train, and we had commissioned several lorries to transport from the train to Sridham Mayapur, and I had hired many coolies to unload the train, and they were lazy and taking their sweet time. So myself personally, I led the charge. I went into the train first, made them stand in a line, and I started throwing cement bags from myself to the next and told them, "Get these on the truck." And soon the trains were empty, the cement was on the trucks, and we moved it to Sridham Mayapur. And at the same time, the bricks began arriving. And the first thing we built was in Prabhupada's courtyard in front of his Bhajan Kuntir. We built a small little brick structure which became the new home for Radha Madhava. And just in front of Prabhupada's Bhajan Kuntir, we built 3 adjoining rooms. One room was an office which was used by Jayapataka and myself. The next room was a go-down where we stored cement, and the last room was used for storage and also partially as a goshala, because we had also purchased 1 cow. Prabhupada at that time did not visit Sridham Mayapur very often because his was a preaching mission, and at the same time in Bombay they had started the Bombay Temple, and there was much more opportunity for him to preach in Bombay than in Sridham Mayapur. But on those occasions when he did visit, immediately he would settle in, and the inconveniences of having no toilets, no running water, he adjusted to them so nicely and chanted. But his traveling companions, his secretaries, would say, "How can you live here? It's so austere. We want to get out of here as quickly as possible." So they were very happy when Srila Prabhupada would decide to go back to Calcutta. So in this way, from the local Hindu community, there was a construction crew, and they were employed to begin work on the first of our buildings. We thought that by providing them with a cement mixer, one of these small ones, it would speed their progress in building, but this was too high-tech for them to use, so they continued to mix the cement by putting it into something like this, which they had made out of loose bricks and things, and the workers would get inside and jump up and down like you see in Italian movies, squishing grapes. So they would mix the cement, and then they would load the cement into the little metal trays, and step by step, this building began to take shape. So of all projects in India, this was Prabhupada's very first, and it was his most important project. Unfortunately, it's taken more than 43 years for this to fully manifest. But as Prabhuji before me had just said that, you know, this was the vision of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, that this project continue, and that devotees from all over the world would come. So in 1974, we had our first Gaur Purnima festival. I have pictures of that. I should have brought them, but Prabhupada came. Devotees from all over the world at that time also came, and it was very ecstatic, the kirtans, the vibration of devotees from everywhere in the world chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, and the presence of the person responsible, Srila Prabhupada, there. He would daily go on walks. A select few of us were fortunate enough to be able to walk with him, and he would come back and inspect the building every day. It wasn't finished yet, but it was still habitable, and he would point out, asking questions about this, about that, about this and about that, and we dutifully would answer his questions. And his vision was not just that one building, but the entire complex with a huge temple as is being constructed at this very moment. So those of you who listened yesterday to Brahmananda Prabhu, he said that even in the very beginning, when Srila Prabhupada was living in a rat-infested havi of a place in New York, had visions of grandeur, very large temples in the parks of New York City. We will build a beautiful marble temple. This will be there. And for at least for me, I wanted to be a part of Srila Prabhupada's project. My vision wasn't so grand as his, but I knew that this project was the most important thing in his agenda, to build this, to glorify Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so I was willing to sacrifice whatever was required, even to the point where I went to prison in being arrested in Mayapur for being a CIA agent. And Prabhupada at that time was traveling, but when I was released from prison, Prabhupada called me into his room in Calcutta, and he, of course, was very concerned about my well-being. He asked me if I wanted to go back to America, and I told him, no, Prabhupada, I want to go back to Mayapur and help finish this project. And he had a big smile on his face. And then at that time, in his travels, he was translating Srimad Bhagavatam, and he was translating 7th canto, which is about Prahlad Maharaj. And in one of the purports to one of the verses, he mentions that yes, these rascals are arresting my disciples as CIA agents. So his concern was the translation of his books. His concern is also the well-being of all of his disciples and also this project in Mayapur. So in one way it saddens me that it's taken so long, so many years, but the wait is going to be well worth it, because when this project is finished, it will be such a spectacle that people, not just from India, but people from all over the world will come to Sridham Mayapur. They will see the devotees and they will be able to taste the nectar of the holy name. So I humbly request that everyone in their hearts pray that this project will manifest quickly and as a glorification to Srila Prabhupada. Devotees come and offer their respectful obeisances to this wonderful project and this wonderful place, and most importantly, this person who sacrificed so much to come to this material world to give this science of self-realization to unworthy individuals as ourselves. Again, I'm so very, very happy that I was able to take part in this project from the very beginning. And I'm going to be alive, hopefully, to see its finishing also. Hare Krishna, thank you very much.